Ladies and gentlemen, we have another session coming up, but this is a virtual session. Technology at the core of retail, 5 tech trends to fortify, extend, and reinvent. Accenture is a global professional service company with leading capabilities in digital, cloud, and security, with unmatched experience and specialized skills across more than 40 industries. Our speaker, Rajul Agarwal from Accenture, is business and technology leader focused on delivering profitable and steady growth. He's an active member on industry and tech forums, facilitated talks on the industry trends and innovations. Can we have him virtually? Give it up for Rajul Agarwal. Thank you to the 2.5 people clapping.
Thank you for having me in this conference. Pretty excited to share our point of view on how technology is shaping the retail industry. So let me quickly share my screen and bring up the slide. It should be visible, right? So as you can see, technology is definitely at the core of retail. And what we will be talking about is a couple of tech trends to fortify your business, extend your business to do more, and reinvent your business, right? No one in retail could have predicted a year that one just experienced. And yet, some retailers have shown remarkable resilience throughout the pandemic, using the crisis as a catalyst to accelerate digital transformation, innovation, and pivot their business to new business models. Many organizations stepped up to use technology in extraordinary ways to keep their business and communities running at a pace they thought previously impossible. And all this was accelerated by technology. Large brick and mortar retailers across the globe quickly implemented curbside pickup, blending the traditional in-store experience with a new digital experience to create something that's not only safer for customers, but more seamless. A lot of our clients, one such example being a large electronics retailer, converted their stores to online fulfillment centers. All this was possible because of the company's technology leadership. The domain-based cloud architecture, microservices, digitally decoupled architecture that retailers have embraced. Intelligent supply chain, right? We keep talking about how robust is your supply chain, how nimble is your supply chain. Smart warehousing, robotics, machine learning, touchless picking, that was the need of the hour, along with scaled last mile delivery. All of us have leveraged that sitting in the comfort of our homes, that touchless delivery, that last mile delivery, those products which used to arrive right at our door at a click of a button, right? The world is definitely hungry for new leadership. More retailers have embraced the idea of every business is destined to be a technology business. Technology exists to power businesses. What we will do now is we'll focus on 5 retail trends or broader technology trends that every year as a firm we come up with. We have been doing it for last 10 odd years, right? Every year we say where the industry will go 3 to 5 years down the line. So this year as well, we came up with this 5 trends, the technology that will enable retailers to drive new innovations, opportunities, business models underpinned by modern digital technology, especially cloud, in which we have a firm have committed $3 billion of investment over a period of 3 years. That's what we committed last year, right? So the 5 trends that we are talking about are stack strategically, right? Mirror world, I technologists, anywhere, everywhere, from me to we. Let's look at each of them in a bit, right? Stack strategically. What it means is architecting a better future. A new era of industry competition has dawned on us. one where companies are competing not just on the business model, but on the IT systems and the architecture. Companies are looking at shifting their mind from avoiding the technical debt to building technical wealth. The technology architectures that are dynamic, sustainable, and flexible. Only by developing a more adaptive and usable approach to technology will enterprises be ready with their technology stack. So retail competition is definitely increasing. And one of the key aspects, as I highlighted, is technology stacks. Retailers will be defined by the IT choices their leaders make and the strength of the stack that they build. Are you up for it? Just giving an example, one of the large fashion retailers is competing on the technology stack that they have. Taking advantage of the wide variety of technology options they have, they develop unique technology which gives them a competitive edge. Here I'm talking about Ralph Lauren, the brand all of us can relate to, right? They had built a huge customization program, right? Wherein largely they were looking at picking up few specific colors or adding embroideries to editing products. But in 2020, they pushed the limit. They digitally customize their platform and let the customer create their own unique personalized product. And they were marrying it up with on-demand manufacturing. So that's where the ecosystem or the architecture is going to. The technologies that we are talking about here are definitely, as we highlighted, cloud architecture. We are talking about computer vision. We are talking about how retailers are able to use data analytics. So if you put it in perspective, if you are in this business, are you already prepared to be a technology leader? How are you looking at creating competitive edges within your technology choices? How are you looking at building that relationship with your customer, leveraging the next generation technology? So that's tech strategically. Moving on, next, what we have is mirror world, right? The power of massive intelligent digital twins, right? So you have a store. Can you monitor or keep a tab of what's really is going in your shopping mall or a store sitting remotely and able to control what really is going on, right? So that's where the mirror world comes into picture. It's about connecting massive models of wholesale factories. It's about supply chain. It's about whole products, life cycles, and more. It's about bringing your data and intelligence together at incredible scale, running massive and limited simulations and asking and answering big picture questions like how will it impact my operations if I have to close this warehouse? Or can I update this product to be more sustainable? How can I do that with my existing vendors? The mirror world and the intelligent digital twins connected in it are making it happen. These are the primary business drivers for retailers across the globe, pushing the industries towards a more agile and intelligent future, modeling customer behavior in store, simulating store environments, as I highlighted, for new formats, remodeling, merchandising the reset, lowering the maintenance costs and increase asset time. Are you game for it? Are you looking at using this particular technology, digital twins, along with definitely a lot of machine learning and AI going in? The 5D technology, the sensors, the IoT, and underneath enabling all this is cloud with edge computing. So that's what mirror world is all about. Are you prepared for the mirror world? Are you looking at how you can transform your businesses and innovate? Are you looking at reinventing your enterprise? Engage wider with the ecosystem of digital tools. So that's the second trend that we talked about. Let's look at what do we have next, right? The technologist, right? If I ask you, a few years back, would you have expected your parents to actually order grocery online using the mobile app? The answer would have been no. A big no, right? Nobody would have expected, but that's what is happening. Now, can you imagine a website being built just by describing it. That's precisely what is happening with OpenAI, right? Where you just tell, this is what you want, and that's the underlying code is getting developed. Natural language processing, low code platform, robotic process automations are all democratizing technology, putting powerful capabilities in the hand of our people. The phenomena is grassroots, and innovation strategies are getting defined around this. While IT will still handle major implementations and work with most advanced technologies, the people close to day-to-day business problems will be empowered to create technology-driven solutions themselves. That's where the industry is moving. Powerful capabilities are now available for the people across business functions. Fantastic example of what Levi's has done. They were looking at enabling the people. So there was a question in their mind, should they hire technology people from outside or should they enable their people from business? They had made the choice. They enabled their business people with the right technology skills because your business people already understand how it works within Levi's. They are close to the culture of the organization. So easy to enable your existing people with the right technology skill rather than looking for people outside. So that's where the industry is moving. Precisely, that's what we as an organization are also doing with our TQ program. That's the technology quotient, where we are enabling our people on the latest technologies. We are be it cloud, be it edge computing, be it 5G, and you know what, every other technology. That's how we are enabling our people. Are you doing that? Are you enabling your business with these technology or filling the workforce gap? Are you looking at training your workforce? How are you democratizing technology in your IT groups to make them more effective? So that's the third trend. I think that's a huge one to enable our workforce, because getting the right talent within your organization, I think that's the heated war which is going outside. So better to enable our people with the right technologies and making them much more impactful, right? The fourth one that we are talking about is anywhere, everywhere. Bring your own environment, right? So who would have thought the biggest workforce shift will happen in the memory that all of us could remember? One fine day, everybody was asked to go home and work from home. And they were enabled on their own platforms, right? People did not get the time to move their devices to their home. So their own devices were enabled. Or what you can say is organizations were okay to have the devices, whatever their people had. So in new environments got created, right? So we have all heard about bring your own device, but now where the industry is moving is bring your own environment. Leaders can rethink the purpose of working at each location and lean into the opportunity to reimagine their business in the new world. For every organization, the right strategy and the right balance between remote and in-person work will be different. But the strongest organization in the future will be the ones that take this movement to rethink the purpose of location and then reimagine what they can achieve if their people can work and innovate from anywhere and everywhere. That's what is happening. And that's what Microsoft Teams has enabled, right? They gather the people feedback, and that's what they have enabled different features, noise cancellation in the background. If you're on a remote meeting, you can enable those features so your background noise is not impacting, right? So that's what is happening from anywhere, everywhere. The technologies that we are looking at is definitely these cloud platforms, these collaboration platforms that have kind of taken it to the next level. We are also looking at social emotional intelligence. We are also looking at data visualization, how you are enabling your people with the right data visualization skills. Cybersecurity is a big one in this space, right? With everybody working from home, there are so many loopholes which are possible. How have you enabled your infrastructure, your environment, which is more secure than ever? So that's anywhere, everywhere. Again, how is your business making remote work sustainable and seamless and secure? How are you responding to your people to work remotely? How are you thinking about the purpose of work? moving forward? Are you looking at calling your people back in the offices? Are you looking at dual pace of work? So that's where I think you need to look at, right? Last but not the least, that's me from B, a multi-party system through chaos. It's about how we partner. One of the biggest lessons enterprises took out of COVID is that they need a more resilient, adaptable, and trusted foundations for partnership. The demand for contact tracing, frictionless payments, and new ways of building trust brought into shape focus what has been left undone with enterprises' existing ecosystem. So that was a big focus area, right? How can you do touchless payments, bring multi-party, have your supply chain kind of seamless, have that visibility, bring in the aspect of, I mean, there's big focus on sustainability. How are you ensuring you have that rise visibility? Are you using blockchain as a technology to do that? What are you really doing in this space? So blockchain and distributed ledger concepts are definitely gaining traction because they hold the promise of transforming industry operating model. In particular, we looked at NFTs, right? Non-fungible tokens, which represent digital assets verified through the blockchain, have caught fire. We have multiple cases in recent past where NFTs have come into picture, right? How people are actually leveraging it. Brands are already using to create unique online experiences. Blockchain could also create enterprise opportunities in payments, tracking, authentication, and supply chain, as we talked about, as well as loyalty and rewards and more, right? So that's from me to we, where we are talking about distributed ledger, where we are talking about multi-party system, where we are talking about e-commerce platform, where we are talking about biometrics. So the question for us is, how are we digitally leading these partnerships, driving value for our business, for our enterprises? Is your business ready to participate in the multi-party system? Are you okay to work within an ecosystem? Which business relationship will transform by the growth of multi-party system? Right? So these are the questions we need to be asking ourselves to fortify our business, to extend our business, to reinvent our business. Just to summarize, we looked at these 5 technology trends: stack strategically, which is more about architecture; mirror world, which is more about digital twins. How are you leveraging the massive power of data and analytics? I-technology is all about how are you enabling your people with the latest so that they are enabled technology and able to work seamlessly anywhere, everywhere. Again, how are you enabling our people to bring their own environments, bringing them the right tools? And then the last but not the least is from me to we, right? So that's where all this multi-party system, the use of NFTs, the use of blockchain is coming in. So how are you looking at leveraging all these technologies in your business? Because that's where the industry is moving. That's where the retailers who actually leverage this and have their architecture defined seamlessly will be leaping the journey in next 3 to 5 years. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Have a fantastic conference. Congratulations to all the nominees for the awards to follow later in the evening. May the best one win. With that, thank you very much. Be safe and buy responsibly, because sustainability is a big focus for us across the industries. Buy responsibly, but do go out and shop, because we want retailers to survive. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Rajul Agarwal from Accenture, who's business and technology leader. Give it up for him. A round of applause. The e-virtual conversation. Louder, ladies and gentlemen. Rajul Agarwal, of course, could not be with us today, but he's actually ended up giving all that he had. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our next panel, which is partnered by Gulshan Group, Retail Reboot, the new era for customers' experience, embracing the innovation to survive and thrive. I would like to call upon our leader, Rehan Haq, VP Retail, the ILC Group co-founder and COO, Propel co-founder, Arkalan. Can I have him on stage? Rehan Haq, round of applause, use the whistles. Who says IPL only has the energy? Hello, Rehan. Request you take your seat. Thank you, my friend. Rajneet Kohli, President and Chief Business Officer, Domino's, Jubilant Foodworks. Hello, Rajneet. How are we today? Thank you. Surjit Rajpurohit, COO, Amanora Mall on stage, sir, please. Surjit Rajpurohit, Deepak Kapoor, Director, Gulshan Group. Can I have you on stage, please? Mr. Deepak Kapoor. And Rohit Gopalani, Head Leasing Business in Orbit Malls. So, Rehan, where are the dignitaries of the panels? While they come, I'm sure you can have your one-on-one with Mr. Kohli as well. Ladies and gentlemen who are outside the ballroom, please come inside. Rehan, over to you. Discussion. Gentlemen, please take your seats. Hello. So, Rajneet Kohli, Surjit Rajpurohit, Deepak Kapoor, and Rohit Gopalani. Like I told you, Rajneet Kohli is President and Chief Business Officer, Domino's, Jubilant Foodworks. Surjit Rajpurohit, COO, Amanora Mall. Deepak Kapoor, Director, Gulshan Group. And Rohit Gopalani, Head Leasing Business in Orbit Malls. Rehan, are you ready to rock and roll?
So a friend of mine, he lost his job in the pandemic. And he came visiting and we started talking, and as we conversed, I asked him a few questions that we generally do in a scenario like that. So why were you laid off? Were you replaced or your job became redundant? What other skills were you working on in the last few years? The crux of the discussion was that his skill set was no longer relevant, and he did not see it coming. It can happen to any one of us. It can happen with a blink of an eye. My question to you is, are you relevant with your offering, with your product, with your skill set, with your job skills? So I think the answer is very simple: how to deal with change. So I dug deeper. So progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their mind cannot change anything, is what George Bernard Shaw said. Any change, even a change for the better, is accompanied by discomfort, is what Arnold Bennett said. All changes are preceded by chaos, and that is something which is true, said by somebody unknown. There is nothing permanent except change, has been said by Heraclitus. Change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous in the end, has been said by Robin Sharma. So history has witnessed change. The future will witness change as well. Pandemic has roughed us up, but it is gradually fading away. And we are staring into a very different world. We have all changed knowingly or unknowingly. So has our businesses. To reboot retail to the next step forward in the future, we have to embrace change and incorporate the same in our businesses. So with that, the MAPIC team, senior members of the fraternity, dear colleagues, and dear friends, thank you for making it here. Thank you, MAPIC, for organizing this event. Thank you, Ashna. Thank you, Jatin, for putting this lovely event together. Welcome to the discussion on the future of retail and how trade is standing on a threshold of a reboot. COVID-19 has led to a dramatic shift in the consumer behavior, and we all know it, and we have been part of it. We are part of the change. And the retailers and the developers have to think hard and imbibe recourse in the way business has been running and the way business is going to be run in the future too. With e-com, technology, phygital, omni-channel, will eventually change all the shopping malls and all the marketplaces into a huge marketplace. The revenue will no longer be dependent only on the GLA of the mall. And the target audience will not be restricted to only a geographical location or a boundary. And yes, you're hearing that right. The reality today is those who do not innovate and do not embrace change will perish sooner than anticipated. I have an esteemed panel here, and I have some questions, some hard questions as well for them to answer. And as I always do, let's start with the left and come on to the right. So my first question for each of the panelists would be to start with one major disruption which their line of business they have witnessed, and what kind of innovation or what kind of strategy has helped them keep afloat in the last 1.5 years. So we can start with Rohit, we can start with you.
Hi, Ryan. Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. I think last 1.5 years have been very challenging for all of us, and the question what you're asking me, what is that one thing which kept all of us going in was obviously to accept these changes and evolve around it, right? All of us were forced to think different, do things differently, and eventually execute it, right? From a mall business point of view or from a developer point of view, when the malls were shut down or there was absolutely lockdown in the city or the state or even in the country, it was very, very important that our engagement with both the retailers and clients take absolute priority, right? So during these time, it was very, very important to be relevant and also be visible to them, right? And obviously, everybody within their homes were missing the shopping experience. So a couple of innovative ideas or things what we did was we took malls to the societies. We did call something called as In-Orbit on Wheels. All right, we did large society activities, right? So I'm sure people were bored or shopping online and only clicking and shopping through the screens, right? So it made a lot of sense. We got a lot of positive feedback in and around. More importantly, as I rightly mentioned, it ensured that the engagement with the client, the brand, and the retailer were still relevant, right? That was one of the key things which comes to my mind immediately, and to answer your question in short, yeah. Thanks.
Mr. Kapoor?
Hi, good evening. Well, as far as I think, the whole world has changed, and we all are a changed personality, because emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially,
yeah,
we have enough time.
More financially, I think. More financially, I think, no?
Financially as well.
Lighter pockets.
Very well. We all had enough time to think on each aspect of our life. And it's one of a lifetime event in our life, which we experience, that world came to a standstill. All of a sudden, none of us could ever imagine this can happen. But today we all talk about it has happened. And very bravely, very sincerely, most of us has come out of it. That's commendable to all of us. However, in the journey, we lost a lot of loved ones. So the learning out of it and the change is that you need to understand this phenomena may happen. We have never planned financially on the balance sheets or when we do the strategic projections of 3 years planning, 5-year planning, 10-year planning of an organization. This becomes a vital component today when we discuss what if something like this happens in future. Are we planned for it? Have we geared up our finances in such a way that we can ride that wave and still remain very viable and available in the market? So this is what is the learning. One very good social change I have seen is hygiene levels. So there are fallouts, but there are very good learnings. Hygiene levels of the world have gone up, and which was the necessity, need of the hour. So we must maintain that. So this is what is the learning. We should not forget it. So this hygiene level has resulted in a disruptive thinking that can I continue to be like that? And can I continue to serve my customer with this philosophy of life? So all our drawing boards, all our working has started working, changing into this direction. And we found a lot of innovative ways as existing retailers, existing shopping malls, owners, developers have all started and touching customer touch points, and they were reaching customers without touching anybody. So the technology came in. Earlier, it was very difficult for us to understand that technology can run our organization. Today, we all know that technology can run our organization. Earlier, online meeting was a myth. Today, it is a reality. So we love to be physically involved, but our limitation have gone off. So these are the few learnings of life lessons we have learned it, and we are going very strong in terms of understanding consumer behavior in a different fashion and tailor-making and providing products to match the new requirements of the customer at all fronts. Thank you.
Rajneet.
A very good evening to all of you. To be honest, you as well. I think COVID has been a curveball that none of us, either anticipated or prepared for. At least in my MBA, I was never taught that if some kind of crisis happen, how do you manage that? So none of us had that playbook. I would say that 2020 we keep talking was the new normal. I heard this. I learned this new vocabulary. 2020 is the new normal. When 2021 has come, especially COVID, where it's the new abnormal. I mean, it just shook us, everyone. I mean, we talked about financially, emotionally, every one of us. I think at Domino's, if I would just go back and remind ourselves, March circa 2020, when we had just had one case of COVID in India, no deaths, just one case. I remember just forming a team, taking learnings from China, what's happening, how could this impact us. And by 4th of March, we had the new SOPs in place. We ordered PPEs worth 8 crores. Imagine to go to your management and tell them, I want to order 8 crores of PPE. And a lot of people in industry said, what are you doing? You're not going to wear masks. Are you expecting people to wear masks? Today, everybody in Delhi and if you're from Delhi, you will get 2,000 rupees fine if you don't wear a mask. But little thinking ahead. And one thing I think we changed as a process was we learned from Australia and from China was zero contact delivery. So we were the first ones in 3 days' time. We got our entire digital team. I remember in my own cabin, we had 50 people from marketing, digital, operations, everybody. And I said, you want to launch zero contact delivery. Half the people said, how are you going to deliver pizza like that? And we said, we'll deliver in paper bags. We'll move 6 feet back. Ring the bell, move back. People will be wearing masks. We made videos of it. We demonstrated with a new set of management training. See, that's a big thing. If I would have gone to my old set of people, they would have said, no, this can't be done. So we went to management trainees who were young guys who said, okay, we'll go and try. How difficult can this be? And we were able to launch zero contact delivery even before the first lockdown, 17th of March. So I think that changed for us. And that's what continued throughout the COVID period. And that's still going on for us. I mean, that's one big change I would say that helped us big time. Just thinking, being agile a little ahead of time and making that change happen.
Sujit sir.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, as everyone said, malls were never prepared to be closed. So this was totally new, like not for a day, for a month, huge, the entire asset is off. Financially, it was very brutal. There was no support coming from the government, neither in terms of a basic demand charges for electricity, not much waivers in terms of anything. Then obviously you had a own challenge, which is towards your retailers, plus your customers. When are they going to come back? How are they going to come back? Are the shopping behaviors going to be the same? And that is the time, as everyone said, everyone started looking for it, what best you can do. Like as typically, every mall has done across in India was, let's take the mall across to the customers if people are not able to come to the mall. So malls on wheels is what we started. That was a good concept which we had, wherein a lot of, societies were tapped, a lot of, people came across. The retailers which were already on an online platform, they really welcomed it very well. They were able to, deliver and at least do a basic amount of business during those times. And eventually that picked up very well. And, the numbers started coming in very well. But yes, it has really, given you a task to really rethink on your entire running of these shopping centers. We have come down to a lot of forums. We have been discussing a lot of other challenges. But this particular challenge will be really change the entire perception of running the shopping centers.
Good, thank you, Sujit sir. I'm going to go back to the man who represents strong business acumen, the company who saw opportunity and diversity, the company who imbibed innovation, and a result more than double the market capital in the most adverse economic scenario. So we have the pleasure of Rajneet here, and we're going to quiz him more. So Rajneet, question for you. What is your digital initiative in terms of how are you innovating your products? How are you imbibing more digital influx into the system in terms of generating more business, in terms of improving your products? And what is your strategy for the next few years? How do you see it going from here?
No, thanks, Rian. I think we already have a very, very strong, I call it the house of strategy for Domino's, which we had already designed 2018, which is to become a food tech powerhouse. I mean, this is not the words that we're now saying, but this is the strategy. You know, and a strategy, we always say, you know, we learned in MBA books, this structure follows strategy. So once we had that strategy in mind, we've been, you know, hiring digital teams to make ourselves app first. And COVID in that sense just accelerated that. In terms
So
of,
can you elaborate, sorry, I'm butting in, can you elaborate a little more in terms of how this digital strategy would be and how will it impact the customer experience? Can you stitch it together for us?
Sure. No, I can do that. So few things that we can say that from a delivery, our app, which is our own Domino's app that we have, is something that we've really built our teams on. I mean, initially I remember we couldn't store credit card details, we couldn't have customer data to that. So we lose the customer data that whatever we had. And all the malls, every retail, people have a lot of customer data. I think that's the power of it. How do you look at that and seeing how many customers are coming back? What's the frequency? How fast they do come back? So it's a mining of data using a technology to reach back to your customers. So we could find out which are the high frequency customers who are missing us. Is there a way that we could be reaching out to them? Which are the medium frequency guys? And what do they need? And they're always those discount seekers, whichever retail, we're all in retail industry, they're always there. So if you know that which are the single ones, customers who are looking, the power of the data that you have and you use your technology through your app, PWA, or QR code, all the malls have adopted, the data that you get can really give you insights of how consumer behaviors are. I'll give you one or two examples. Takeaway for us as a business was less than 10% of a business. So when this COVID happened, we changed on our own app. 2 or 3 things happened. We made takeaway as a big, bold one rather than dine-in. We ensured that a customer who has to go and seek a store could go out, find the closest store which is there in his, nearby his place, and go and do a takeaway. And why would he do a takeaway in this period? People are wary of going into a store. I mean, I'm talking at least a year back. Now people are all, coming back. But that's the insight that we got, that customers are worried, but they still don't want to be at home all the time. They really want to go out. It's like a hybrid that we keep talking about. They want to go out, but they don't want to enter the store. But then that's where we thought about drive and pick. Today we've got drive and pick as a channel. I know Domino's stores are not built in a traditional way of drive and pick, right? We don't have a drive-through. But we don't need a drive-through. There are government roads. So I turned the question around. I said, how can we make our own stores drive and pick? What do you need from a technology perspective? What do you need from our own operation perspective? And that's what 2 or 3 things we did. We have it in our own app called Drive and Pick, where customer can say, I'll go and come up at this time. So once he places the order, we'll tell him in 10 minutes time, this store you can come out and pick up your order. And once he reaches there, he just has to say, I am here. There are some dedicated parking spaces that we marked on the app. He says, I am here, and the people go into signal. The guy will go out. He puts a stool there because he still doesn't want to, come out of the car. So the stool which is at height of a car, this thing, he puts the bag there and the guy is able to take it. Brilliant. So we've created 1,300 stores that we have 1,300 drivers in a way without investing in that. So that's one example of embracing technology along with your physical stores, and the importance of physical stores will always remain there. So those are few of the examples I can say. Today we've got last quarter we had 6.3 million downloads of our own app. 87% of business today is digital in terms of payments to different ways. So while consumers changing, as organizations we also need to pivot along with that to make that happen.
Brilliant. I'm going to transition this question to the developer side. So Rohit, over to you. What kind of digital initiatives are you initiating in Orbit? And what kind of a customer collaboration are you looking at from the digital and e-com and the phygital part? And how soon do you think the omni-channel is going to be a hardcore reality for every marketplace?
Right. So this is interesting. What we also did at Mall with technology help, obviously we also created something called as curbside pickup, right? So obviously we had such a big malls and we had all the retailers doing something or the other like that, which linked into that specific stores. But yes, customers wanted a break and actually wanted to come out and pick it up, right? So we created dedicated curbside pickups where the customer can drive in and pick up and go ahead and with that. So that was one initiative. Second, obviously, was the contactless food court ordering system, right? Wherever you are in the mall, right? You have just a QR code, you just scan it and pay it, and the food would be delivered to you, right? That's what the second one. Third, which we really see and which saw a lot of customer engagement with each stores as well was the WhatsApp video calling, right? You have a few brands actually recording more than 60% of their sales through WhatsApp video calling, right? That was a great initiative with, of brands. What they did was they had this specific database, and Ranjit ji has rightly mentioned that they actually went down who's the one who's going to do it, and then it was like a dedicated shopping for a consumer who's inside the home, right? So those were the few technological things which had happened. But as you rightly said, we're still evolving, and one challenge which we keep on thinking always is in a mall, it's a marketplace, and you have from 120 to 350 stores, right, with different brands, and everybody will have their own apps and technology, right? How do we really integrate, right? When a customer walks into a mall, right? So that's what we've been thinking over and trying to devise or come up with an app which integrates everyone, right? So that's work in progress from our side. I think hopefully we should be able to do something out of it very soon. Yeah. So yeah, these are a few stuff which we're doing. Also going forward, what we're trying to do is environment is big, right? And what we're trying to do is we in one of our malls we've already got e-station, so charging stations for our all electric cars. So we kind of upgrading our malls and giving that facility to the consumer. So a client can come in, a typical car charging takes anywhere between 45 minutes to 1.5 hours, depending on the kV. So that amount of time a client can really spend in the mall. So we're doing all those kind of technological advances to help us in future. Yeah.
You know, this WhatsApp calling and video calling and shopping, approaching customers on a video call, and they select a few products, and then a salesman will probably go to their house or wherever they want to meet and carry those products which has been shortlisted on the video, and then resulting in a sale. This turnaround time is huge, and if you don't have large ticket size, it may not be a very profitable model to follow in the future. So what's your view on that? I mean, in terms of the bridge premium products, it's going to be a difficult, I mean, for, you know, for a ticket size of 1,000 rupees or 1,500 rupees or 2,000 rupees, it will become very difficult to actually imbibe it. Do you think it was a desperate measure during pandemic, or it's going to continue in the future? Will you encourage your brands in your mall to carry this model forward, or you will discourage them?
So this really was like a stopgap, right? But it actually ensured that it became a hybrid kind of a model, right? So there was also a hyper-local which was evolving. So they used that store as a temporary warehouse and could use and bill into that store. And Rehan and everyone, the gap which lies really in the industry currently is you have Amazon, you have everyone, right? But the delivery tat, right? If a guy does that, a video calling through a store of a Vera Moda or a Jack and Jones or any brand, or a Celio, or even in Domino's. Domino's, obviously F&B is different, but from a retail point of view, a product will get delivered after 24 hours or 48 hours, even if you are an Amazon Prime. But wherein by video calling, the product can come to that consumer the same day or in few hours. So I think that's where was the key, which it ticked.
I'm going to transition this question to Sujit sir. I mean, what is your experience, sir, in terms of customer collaboration? I'll give you a data before we start. So customer collaboration and engagement, a recent global study says that in terms of priority, product weighs 33%, pricing weighs 20%, vis-a-vis the customer engagement in terms of success is 46%, and this is going to only grow in the next 5 years. So what's your thoughts, sir, in terms of what have you been implementing, and what are your thoughts in terms of customer engagement and collaboration for the next few years?
So I'll just refer to the first part of it, what we were discussing. You know, similar like how we did the same curbside pickup was a major hit. The bigger challenge was, you know, you have a mix of retailers. You have an international retailers which already have a digital presence. Then you have, you know, standalone retailers, regional retailers who don't have any digital presence. They are keen, they wanted to open. So how do we do that? Yes, WhatsApp calling was one of the features which was very common. The other was to create a digital catalog type of a platform and circulate it, because, you know, we are a part of a large township. We have already have around 16,000 plus families staying with us. So already every particular society has a WhatsApp group. So there we had that opportunity to that circulate a particular catalog in every single member or every single society. There was a thing. Again, the delivery was again a challenge. As we ourselves had a lot of people, like starting from our housekeeping plus from the retailer side. So our delivery time was, very, very short, which we could. Obviously, we couldn't do anything about 3 kilometers, but within 3 kilometers, we were able to deliver very fast. Now, as far as your customer engagement, yes. Now, for, in current scenario, especially after COVID, as things have totally changed, specifically social distancing to the digital presence to a very different hygiene levels and all those parts. If you see from a customer engagement, typically for a retail perspective, till the time that pricing is not the one which is pulling it across, it becomes very difficult first for because Amazons and all these guys are really playing very, very hard on the pricing. Currently, if you see, they're really playing very hard on pricing. So first, for you to challenge the price, and second, obviously, what you're trying to build up here is again the experience. That what we are giving different is you touch, feel. Now, obviously, you can even try. That is one of the things which makes it little different for us. Obviously, there we try and use what best technologies which we can use, but more important is to give that particular part because, on a longer part, this is where we want to give the upper advantage that, touch and feel, come, go, and all those. Apart from that, yes, technologies you use for various stuff like small stuff which we started for our parking. Initially everybody was very scared to give parking tickets. Initially you were not charging. Now we have used the FASTag as the technology. So same FASTag which you use there is you can even pay to your parking, you can reserve your parking, all those things.
Thank you. Mr. Kapoor? So I'm going to transition this question again to you in terms of, the building customer relations, engagement. How do you innovate further on this in terms of how do you create a differentiation of your product with this in the background?
Well, as far as that retail experience is concerned, I will give you a consumer perspective because I'll give you my background. I'm a residential real estate developer with having a very good, strong customer connect. And we say we do not satisfy customer, but we delight the customer in a residential segment. So I'm entering and I have developed 2 small shopping centers, one in Noida and one in Kota, which are ready for fit out. So my exact experience as a retailer, I go as a consumer, visit all those malls, learn from them and innovate and adopt so that I have to make my commercial center future ready. So the 2 perspective I'll give you. As far as the residential touch points are concerned, what we did is, why customers are satisfied with us and not with other developers. So what I say is we need to understand the customer psychology. We put a lot of emphasis and stress, have good session and see. Then we say we need to provide everything tailor-made of what one wants. In a family which constitutes of male, female and 2 kids, as a nucleus family, so we need to tailor-made program for kids, tailor-made program for females, tailor-made program for males, to ensure that their engagement level is very high even within the residential complex which we have delivered it. So there we have a very strong engagement throughout the year. Barring this COVID time, otherwise there are programs which we continue to do it. So similarly, I say earlier we were doing it offline, then during COVID period we started doing it online. There's a complaint resolution mechanism. When you stay in your houses or in your offices, there are certain complaints. So we put technology into it, and we see that now technology is taking care of all the complaint resolution mechanism. So that innovation and disruption, earlier things were done offline, now it is done through technology platform, which is called apps. So similarly, I have also studied when it comes to retail and commercial selling and retail buying and selling experiences. So even the small, old, traditional Lala stores have adopted technology. So as he said, WhatsApp is a beautiful platform. Why? You see a small hawker, ready wala, uses Paytm. Saab paise nahi hai, Paytm kar do. That is the concept when the disruption came. So that concept we understood. हम जिसे सोचते थे कि ये एक पढ़ा लिखा नहीं है, ये टेक्नोलॉजी का मतलब क्या समझता है, But Paytm taught them that it is possible if we engage with each and every individual, we can innovate and take use of technology and grow. So this is the biggest disruption, and the learning is that WhatsApp messaging, all mom and pop stores are very, very deeply using it, and all colony deliveries are done through WhatsApp mechanism, be it video or be it audio, be it messaging. I tell you, my experience of my wife has trained the domestic help. So they, through their phone, send that message, copy to my wife, that this is what is ordered today, and that vendor does the delivery same evening at home. And with the concentration, yes, billing is done, payment is done online. So my domestic help is doing that online payment to that vendor. So the technology has reached at that level. So we need to understand the psychology and innovate. It is possible, and all stores, whether online or offline, are here to stay. So technology, there is no other option. We need to adopt it, learn, and innovate.
Thank you, Mr. Kapoor. Just when things were getting interesting, unfortunately, we are out of time. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your patience. And thank you, Mappiq. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the force on stage, please. Louder for them. We're going to be inching towards... I like the spirit. I like the spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, those whistles on the table have been given for a reason. Use them now. Come on. Use those whistles.